How cool. Clearing a little bit, we can just start to see a bit of Stewart Island again now, but it's a bit drizzly and overcast, but it's sort of a special moment because this is the top now. We've got no more climbing on the TA, we just go downhill. That's a funny feeling. How do you think about that, Camp Mother? No more climbing.
I was stretching the legs up the hill.
It was.
A beautiful day.
It was,
Last
yeah.
time. We're about to get down.
Go down. We're just waiting for my father-in-law and son and sister to catch us up and we'll go down together. So these guys are caught up now, so that's my son Lincoln on the left, my sister in the middle and my father-in-law Dave. He's done well, 250 metre climb, all downhill for us now. So there is my first view, Stirling Point sign, the finish point. I can't wait. Well, good day everybody. So I'm almost finished the beach walk now, just heading into Invercargill. And I want to take the opportunity to thank a few people, but I wanted to do it before I actually get to the finish line tomorrow, just so there's no emotion and so forth, and so I don't forget everybody or anybody that's helped me with my journey, because even though I've walked it myself, without the support of others, this wouldn't be made possible. And first, I want to thank my Lord and my Saviour, you know, for answering my prayer. I couldn't work out if my desire to do the TA was, you know, personally just selfish on my part, or if it was the Lord's will and He answered all my prayers. It was amazing. You know, I refuse to work in the design space in my industry anymore, just far too much corruption. But I was happy to stay in the construction space, and just in an area where I have a little less liability, I guess. And every time I got offered a job, I accepted it. And it was either the job got shelved and never went ahead, or I was being handpicked for positions by people who knew me, and they're only to be told by their superiors that the positions that they had nominated me for, where they wanted me, weren't open to males. You know, we're having a big push for diversity and equality in that in my industry, because it is male dominated. And look, I'll leave that there. Some people are all for it and they think positive discrimination is great. Others absolutely hate it. But because of that, I was overlooked for many a role that I actually would have quite enjoyed, and I thought I could offer a lot too. But either way, it just got to a point where there was no going back. There was a date I had, and there's not a lot of through hike equipment in Australia and New Zealand, and after that date I just had to place my orders and get my through hike gear from Canada and America to make this adventure happen. And yeah, I accepted everything. Everything fell through. All of a sudden, I think my prayers were answered and I was off on the Te Araroa journey, and zero regrets. But the second person that I really got to thank is my lovely wife. She saw what happened with my industry and my business and how stressed I was, and I don't deny it. I was an angry, grumpy old man. I really was. I wouldn't have been much of a husband before I left, and she realised that I just needed to have a little bit of a reset and just have some space. And she's, you know, sort of said, even though she don't really like the idea, I guess, you know, away you go. And I looked after my two sons for quite a period of time, while she was looking after sick family members for about 4 months. And yeah, prior to my departure on TA, and as you imagine, that was daddy daycare for 4 months. Party on. And it's quite a different dynamic with a dad being home alone for a few months with his sons compared to a mum, and it was really tough for her. So I really, really appreciate that. I'm lucky to have such a courageous and strong woman who is willing to do that for me, and I'll forever be grateful to her for that till the day I die. My two sons, for just picking up, you know, helping out around the house a bit, keeping the lawns mowed and stuff like that. My youngest son, Jack, you know, probably a bit young to understand why Dad's done this, but, you know, your big disappointment was I wasn't there to get you to the motocross track on your motorbike, but I promise you, that's the first thing we do when Dad gets home. And my older boy, Lincoln, he just wants to get back into his martial arts. I was teaching at a gymnasium in Brisbane. He wants to get back into it, so I promise you that as well, mate. We'll be straight back into it when I get home. Going right back to the beginning, this was just a little dream, and there were so many people who are doing exactly what I'm doing, YouTube videos. And there was two, I watched plenty of people do it over the years, but last year's the 23-24 series, Kurt Fenton from Freedom on the Trail and Nikki from Gnarly Adventures. Nikki hiked with Judy, Kurt hiked with Richie, and then Barb for the South Island. And those guys did a brilliant job of documenting. They had heaps more subscribers than me. They did a way better job than I did, but you know, they motivated me. Their channels, I can't thank them enough, helped me plan my trip. And I just hope that somebody gets motivated. You know, that I was in two minds whether I did a video blog as I went, but I felt after watching theirs it was time for me to give back, so I did just that and had to go and do my own YouTube channel, and I've learned a lot along the way. So yeah, thank you so much to you guys. I got my neighbours Simon and Ellie. They got me down to the airport at a really early hour of the morning when I departed, and all the family friends who came to my little farewell party and got behind me with this, thank you so much. I landed in a guy I went through university with, Eugene. We nicknamed him Digger, and his beautiful wife Araha, picking me up from the airport in Auckland when I landed and driving me around to get those consumables that I couldn't do in Australia, gas canisters and stuff like that. Put me up for a night. Araha cooked the most beautiful meal that evening and got to eat that with a couple of their family friends, so thanks for that effort. My auntie and her good friend who drove me up to Cape Reinga to start, my auntie Christine, they made a little road trip on the way back out of that. Thanks. And Christine also, when I came through Auckland, ran around after me a bit again, and then I bumped into her because I got down to Hamilton, and my cousin Colin and Marcy, they're actually away on holiday, and Christine was looking after her grandkids, Ruben and Declan. And thanks boys, one of you gave up your bed for me, and I was stuck there for a couple of days waiting for a pair of shoes to arrive. But thanks to you guys for allowing me to stay in your lovely home while I was in Hamilton. And I got a little further south, and my father-in-law Dave, obviously I had that issue when I lost my phone in the Wanganui River, but he drove me around a little bit. And also in Wanganui, our good friend Carla, she helped us sort of get around some tides and some estuary crossings that we had to deal with while I was in Wanganui as well. So yeah, thank you to you guys for helping me out. We then got down to the Te Araroa Ranges, and we pushed hard. We thought we had a weather window, and we rocked up at the North Terminus to minus 10 degrees, snow and 100km/h winds. We couldn't hit Te Araroa's when we wanted to. And my parents, they moved food and shuttled myself and my hiking partners at the time from the northern terminus of the Te Araroa's to the southern terminus. I finished at North Island, and then they run me back to the northern terminus when I could finally get through the Te Araroa's in a reasonable weather window. So thanks so much to my mum and dad for all your effort too. Two more friends from university, Garrett, who's better known as Speedy, and Matt, who made the effort to join me for the Queen Charlotte track. It was so cool. I met these guys in 1998 and we're still mates now, and that friendly banter along the way, that made my day. It was a great few days walking Queen Charlotte track, so thanks to those two guys for they've both been encouraging me along the way, supporting the channel and watching as I go, but making that part of my journey special. And then obviously I got a bit further south and I had a bit of failure with my hiking poles and that, and had to sort that out. And I caught up with Gail and Gary, who I stayed with when I did my uni degree in Christchurch. And Gail had literally just got out of hospital. They had her family members coming in to bid their farewell. She had some surgery that they thought she wouldn't survive. And that shows how much of a fighter that lady is. She'd been out of hospital 2 days. I never had a car. And they drove to the restaurant in the accommodation where I was and had a meal with me. And boy, I could see how Gail was That was a huge effort, Gail. I really appreciated that. It was lovely to catch up. I'm glad you're on the mend now. Seem to be making a lovely recovery. So that was absolutely brilliant. Along the way, those people I met on 90 Mile Beach, there was Alaskan Mike. He had already done several through hikes over in America, and he got me sorting a few things out, get my water filtering properly, just some rookie errors because I've never done these sort of things. My first interview was Joe from the UK, and he was raising money for charity because he almost lost his life in his 20s from a rare heart condition. He was raising money, so you can see him in my interviews. Eric and Marika from the Netherlands. I finished 90 Mile Beach with you guys. Thanks for cooking me that beautiful meal in Kaitaia. That was absolutely lovely of you. And then I battled my way through Radia Forest, and I bumped into Nicola the Navigator. Nicola had already done the Camino, and I joined forces with her for a fair time. And we're wandering along, and I don't know how to do a drum roll, but the next person we met was the super Kiwi, Emma. That little lady in that leaky little tent that looked like a cocoon. So it was me, Nicola the Navigator, and Emma for a while there, and unfortunately Nicola had some foot problems, and she was always going to have to jump ahead because she had a tight deadline, a work deadline she had to get back for. So we were just past Whangarei, Bream Head, and she had to jump forward anyway and rest up her feet. Then Patrick came in, so it was me, Patrick, and the super Kiwi. Patrick from Switzerland. You can see him in the interviews as well. He was a cruisy dude to hike with. Really enjoyed his company. And then Mick Murtha. You might remember Mick from Perth in Australia. What an inspiration. And he did have some knee problems, and Mick had that nasty fall on Bream Head. You might recall from the videos. And I guess the news isn't really what Mick wanted. He has now had an appointment with his surgeon of choice, and no surgery is going to help his knees. He's got 2 knee replacements as his only option, and I know he's struggling with that. He hasn't opted to go straight into surgery. The surgeon said, you tell me when you're ready. So thoughts and prayers are with you, Mick, and what an honour it was to hike with you, mate. And I hope you get some comfort and a speedy recovery, whichever way you choose to go. Going a bit further south, I hiked with Colin, the retired copper from Australia. Well, he certainly livened things up, and he introduced me to an expat Kiwi, or now being more of a Pommy than a Kiwi. Timmy, old Tim, whose wife's converted him into a Pom, but Tim's probably the guy I hiked or spent the most time with on trail. We sort of parted ways at the end of the North Island, and I had some more gear issues. He ended up miles ahead of me, and he's finished, and congratulations to Tim for that. And we also bumped into in Taumarunui and did the whole of the North Island, pretty much down to Paraparaumu with John and Viv. And a lot of you watch their YouTube channel as well. It's absolutely brilliant. And John was he stepped down as a priest after many years and let the younger guy come through. He didn't know what was next in his journey, but many a spiritual discussion with myself, John and Viv along the trail, and I really appreciated that, and your kind words and your encouragement along the way, and your wisdom. Thank you so much. Great people to hike with. So happy that you guys got to hike the top of the South Island with your kids and your daughters and your sons and so forth. That was really good for you guys. So happy for you, and congratulations on finishing. Then I sort of hit that South Island, and what a privilege when the Super Kiwi, she jumped ahead on a tighter deadline but had to skip Richmond's. Thanks, Emma. It was so cool to catch up with you again and do those Richmond ranges together. I always enjoyed hiking with you. You're a great little achiever, very humble person, and I only wish you the best for the future. Thank you so much for coming back and joining me on the Richmond Ranges. I was so lucky I got some peace and some solo hiking. I really enjoyed that through Nelson Lakes. It was brilliant, and through the Arthur's Pass. And then I got into Methven, and Christine, who's hiking with me now, she's just a bit back down the beach. She saw my name in the book to go on the bus at Methven and messaged me and said, oi, let's catch up. And I'd hiked a little bit with Christine just out of Narrawahia, and she was hiking with a guy, Lance, and unfortunately Lance, he had to pull out in National Park, and Christine said, hey, let's hike together. And we've had some real fun, Christine and I, similar sort of hiking style. And Christine's sort of come in, we've spent a lot of time in this South Island together, but she slowed me down a bit, and in a really good way. I don't mean that in a bad way, in a brilliant way. She made me slow down and smell the roses and really enjoy the end of my trip. If I was on my own, I would have just bolted through and done it, you know, and not really appreciated it as I went. So, yeah, great thank you to Christine as well for being a brilliant hiking partner in the bottom of the South Island. Also, my sister, she joined us briefly in the North Island. She was going to hike 3 days with us, but did 1 day and her feet all blistered up. Unfortunately, she joined forces with a few hikers who are already through hike conditions. But I really hope my sister and her husband, Adam, actually follow me and do this adventure themselves one day. They're certainly fit enough to do it, and it would be lovely for them if they could. Yeah, that's all the people I've sort of hiked with, and I think a special mention has to go out to all our trail angels along the way. I don't want to mention individual trail angels. You're all special in your own way, and I reiterate what I said when I was walking into the start of the Wanganui River, Whakahoro. My concern with trail angels is some of you invest so much to help us hikers. If the trail ever got redirected for any reason, some of them have spent money putting in showers and fridges and all sorts of things, bedding. It could leave them high and dry. So I hope in the future, this is still a relatively young trail. It's still maturing. It's still got birth pains that the Te Araroa Trust can try and do something to more officially help out our trail angels and stop those sort of things happening. But just a massive thank you to the trail angels, and also people who did a bit of trail magic. And a special shout out to Robin. He's a hiker who literally did every step. I've got so much respect for this man. Like, you look at what I've done every available step. I get to the sign, and I'll be playing this video right before I touch the signpost. You know, I followed the TA notes. I bypassed the Rakai and Rangitata rivers and Lake Wakatipu because they ask you not to do those sections. They think that's a bit dangerous. The only other bits I couldn't do, the Waitangi Forest was shut when I got there, and I couldn't find a feasible or safe road walk around it. It was a 10k section. And then there would have been about a 300 metre section. I walked up to roadwork and it was a construction site. They said there's no foot traffic through our construction site, and they organised a work ute to run the TA hikers just 300 metres through the road walks. Other than that, I've done every inch. And all those people that stopped and asked me if I wanted a ride, no, don't be offended. You know, I wanted to walk every inch. That's me, that's my TA. I want to be able to say I walked every available inch on this journey, and I'm sort of glad I did it. It made it a lot harder at times. And going back to Robin, you know, he walked the bypass around the Rakai River, he crossed the Rangitata, and he also walked around Lake Wakatipu. He didn't kayak the Wanganui, he walked through Ratahi and down the Wanganui River Road. That man literally walked every step, and I got nothing but respect, because even though it sounds like we both did TA, there's a huge difference between what he did and what I've done. And he's also been commenting on my channel. He's given us some links to some interesting videos. So thanks for your encouragement, Robin, and thanks for that trail magic when we walked into the Te Araroas. It was absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. I've also just got to give a special thanks. I'm quite blown away by my family. My wife, my 2 kids have come down to watch me finish, and yeah, they're safe. They've managed to get out of the house with that cyclone in Queensland, where our house is trapped right now. There's floodwaters all around it. The house is fine. We won't get floodwater through the house. But yeah, my wife, she knew it was coming, and she got out and got a motel near the Brisbane airport just at the right time, and they've made it over here. So probably the best place for them to be at the moment. And my 2 kids. My mum and my dad have come to watch me finish as well. My father-in-law Dave's come down, and my sister has also flown down. So all of my family members, my wife and kids have come from Australia, and all my other family members have come down from the North Island to the South Island, and I'm absolutely honoured that you guys do that for me. So thank you so much. And one special mention also, a man called Dennis Stanton. He volunteers for Te Araroa. This man is absolutely amazing. When I registered for the October starters group, people were asking questions, and at all hours of the night they were being answered by a man called Dennis Stanton. And I thought he was a bot. I thought, that's a robot, that's not a human. But nah, Dennis Stanton he is a human. And I first saw Dennis at Karangahaki Gorge when I was doing my river safety course. And he had just kindly volunteered his time, and he had driven from Auckland some foreign people that had come in to do the river safety course. He drove them all the way over there. It's not a short drive, it's a long way. And then he went back and collected them later. I then bumped into Dennis again on the northern part of Auckland, replacing a faded Te Araroa sign. Then next thing I hear with Dennis, when you get around the between the two rivers, where they ask you to do a bypass, one of the methods is a school bus. They run the hikers in and then go get the school kids. That doesn't run in school holidays. So who drives his car from the North Island down to the South Island and spends about 6 weeks here and shuttles hikers back and forth? Once again, Dennis Stanton. And I got dropped off in the shuttle. He was actually having some time to walk himself between the Rakaia and Rangitata rivers. He's got personalised number plates, Te Araroa, and a hiker had ridden in the dust on the back window of his car. Dennis the legend. And that's so true. He's a humble guy. He doesn't ask for labels like that, but he deserves it, and he was given that label. He's been given that label by us, the hikers. This guy does so much. And I did bump into him between the Rakaia and Rangitata rivers and had another chat. The next time I see Dennis, top to Maru hut. And it was pretty sad circumstances. Obviously, thoughts go out to the Australian hiker and her family, who sadly passed away on trail this year, but Dennis was going to have a look. And he was also looking at another section of high or flood level track where another hiker had already fallen, and Elaine from Belgium, who I interviewed at Powerhouse Lodge, fell on that section of that same track as well. So there was Dennis again on trail doing an investigation, looking at GPS coordinates, going to the exact spot where those accidents happened to see if anything could be done. And this is all voluntary. This guy's amazing. And then I also bumped him in the accommodation at the Hawea Hotel, and it was an absolute honour to shout you a meal that night, Dennis. I wish I could do a lot more for you, but thank you so much to you too. And finally, I want to thank you guys, the viewers. I did my best with my videos and that. I'm not really a social media bloke, but I've done my best. Hopefully I've got better at videos as I've gone. I shortened them up in the South Island because it's just the internet's so bad. But, you know, generally the comments have all been positive. Thank you so much for supporting me and all the positive comments and subscribing to the channel. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope I've motivated some of you guys to get out there and just to do something that you don't think you can do. The hardest thing is the first step. And as I said, I've hopped off an office chair as a stressed out person in the mad corporate world, unfit, unhealthy, like heart attack waiting to happen. And I said there, I did a full body composition, and let's see what happens if I can get off that office chair and walk 3,000 kilometres. I thought I'll give it a go. I don't know if I'll make it, and it looks like I'm going to make it. I'll make it there tomorrow. I'm almost there now. So I'm going to do another body composition. Let's see not just how much weight I've lost, but have I lost muscle mass? Have I just lost fat? What's really gone on? And I want to use that as a motivator for other people to see what can happen if you take that first step and go out on an adventure like I've just done. There's so many people I've met doing this adventure, people I least expect, who have all pulled this off and have all done it. Like males, females, like people in their 20s, people in their 50s, people in their 60s, almost turning 70-year-old. Just put one foot in front of the other. You look at that big hill, just look at the next marker, put one foot on the other, in front of the other, and you will get there. Believe in yourself, and I hope I can motivate one person. So I can't thank you all enough. I hope I've missed nobody, but I just wanted to do those thank yous because, as I said, without you guys, I couldn't have done this. Thank you so much. God bless everybody. And the next clip will be me going in and touching the pole and BLUFF. Thanks for all your support. I'll be in touch just after the trail, like I say, with those body composition results and some other little things. I'll do a gear breakdown just to show you what I had at the very end and a new base weight, because I think that can help hikers who will follow me on the trail in other years. And if I get time, for people, you know, you've all watched every day, but there's a lot of video footage there. I might, if I get time, break this into sections and regions and do a summary sort of, I suppose, documentary on each sort of area of the TA, break it into about 5 sections, and that'll be good for people coming through in the future who don't have hours and hours of time to watch every single daily update that I did. That's more for the people who are going to follow me and do the trail themselves, but I'll try and do a documentary series as well. Again, thank you for all your support. We'll see you at the finish line. Bye. Well, a big and noisy welcome party. Jack's looking very impressed there, Jack. Well done, mate. Hey, hey. You're not letting go. Woohoo! We made it. Yes, I see that. Well, there we go, everybody. Task complete.